Hello and welcome to the Gambling Files podcast, the podcast that is possibly overly concerned about the death of the community in the modern world. I'm John Bruford, one of your hosts, joined by Fintan Costello, your other host. Fintan, hello.
Hey, John.
Hey, how's it going? How's your community?
My community is very well taken care of and very fine. Thank you.
Do you do much in the community? Are you active in the community? I don't mean do you go outside. I mean, member of your local church?
On the residence committee?
Are you?
Yeah.
Is that because you didn't have a choice? Did that come with...
Newly appointed.
Whoa.
Yeah, I like to do my bit.
Is that you want to change something? That's why you're on that, isn't it? Yeah. It's easier from the inside.
It's fine. No, we've got a central heating issue, so it's
just you.
No, it's because it's an apartment, so we're all connected. So we've all got a collective central heating issue.
Ooh.
And it's fine.
Okay, well, I hope that gets sorted before the winter.
Me too.
Me too. That would be annoying. But
from that, I'm a taxpayer. I pay quite a lot of tax. That's my contributions to the community.
Well, that's something.
I think so.
Well, I am too, but I don't give myself a pat on the back about it.
Yeah, but I got options. I choose to pay the tax.
Oh, I hope your community feels grateful. Oh, my word. Ah, yeah. That's going on your gravestone, by the way, if I have any input in that decision.
Joe's first action. What a ledge.
For which we will all be grateful eternally. Yeah, no, it's good. I'm not as active in my community as I was. I was active when I lived in Ludlow, raising money for the local hospice, things like that. But now that I've moved and it's covered by a different hospice, I kind of feel like I've already got my bed booked in the other one. Certainly paid for that, I think. As long as I'm not there too long, obviously. But no, it's. But I live in it's a very community-oriented little town. There's a carnival every summer, and it's all done. It's all community-run and community groups and all that. It's all volunteer staffed and all that, and it's held on community land. And it's fucking amazing day out, and it's on my birthday this year.
No way.
I know, right? If ever there was a good reason to start drinking again, that's it. I wonder if I got the kids that weekend. So I just carry on talking while I'm working. Talk about our sponsors while I'm figuring this out.
So we've got many wonderful sponsors. We have the amazing Clarion, whose next event is in London, and it's looking to be London in the summer.
Did you see that Clarion Events is being put up for sale?
I did, for quite a lot of money. Well, yeah.
Quite a lot. But, I mean, Clarion Events is a large number of events.
Well, they do the arms dealer one as well, right?
Loads of stuff. Loads and loads of events.
That'd be great crack, like just sitting on a tank at XL.
Yeah.
More interesting than the slot machine.
I think it's got potential.
The drones. Imagine the drones that have.
And I bet the people are nicer as well.
Better swag.
Yeah, definitely. But the social life for the arms dealer crowd is notoriously nice. They're always making movies about how nice they all are.
They got the best restaurants.
I guess.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Blackstone's putting them up for sale for billions. Oh,
yeah. But that's not Clarion Gaming that we're sponsored by.
Well, it's all part of the umbrella, isn't it?
Shh. We're going to ask him for a renewal. Clarion Gaming's way better. So it's Clarion. I don't have the kids on the weekend of the carnival, so I'm going to have to ask for if I can have the kids on the weekend of the carnival. I have to figure that one out. Or maybe I could just grab them in the day and bring them to the carnival. That'd be nice.
Probably pre-book it rather than snatching the kids.
Oh yeah, not actual kidnapping. There are laws, Finton.
I know.
So Clarion Gaming. We're also sponsored by Odds Matrix.
We are.
But also we've got an Every Matrix interview on the start of this episode as well. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use, but I've got a couple of those.
Okay, cool.
To go, but it's very kind of them to sponsor us. Yeah,
it is.
We're big fans. Nice new offices.
Sexy new offices. One of many
in
the world.
Started in a garage in Shoreditch.
Did it?
Yeah. Which is partly why their new offices are in Shoreditch.
Oh, that's fun. I like that.
Yeah. I think I don't know if they describe it as a garage, but like a lock-up kind of thing.
Yeah. That's fun. I love that.
Yeah. But it is bizarre when you think of a tech company. And, obviously Amazon famously started in that nice Mr. Bezos's garage, etc., didn't it?
Well, so Hewlett-Packard, Google, Apple.
But listen, the Amazon logo, do you think that looks like a penis?
No, it's A to Z is the joke.
No, I know. But do you not think it looks like a dick? Like when you press on Prime or whatever, I just look at it and think, it looks like a cock.
I'm going to just pull up the Amazon logo here in front of me. Like the arrow?
Yeah.
I think you need to see a doctor, man, if yours looks like that.
Nah, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's like, but nobody's going to look at a spaceship and think, well, there's a penis. But you can say that, especially Jeff Bezos's ones, phallocentric for sure. It's definitely a cock and balls going into space.
I kind of see it. I saw it more as a smile, and then the link in the A to Z.
No, I get the A to Z part. I'm just saying it's a knob that's pointing to the Z.
Cool. Mighty bending.
That happens, apparently. It's a thing for some people. So they started in a carrot. I don't know how we got sidetracked down that one. What do you like? So a little bit of an interview following this. And I guess we should mention our final sponsor, which is Optimove, who this is an episode about Optimove, but it's about CRM, it's about functionality, it's about
lots of other things as well.
Well, we do get into ethics later.
We do.
Which is unusual for me. I'm famously amoral, I think is probably the best way to put it. Well, let me put it another way, Finton. I've used the sentence before, I don't mind if you're married, I'm not.
Oh dear.
I'm just kidding, I've never said that.
All right.
So Optimove. Sorry, what?
I said on that bombshell.
It's so Optimove used by the majority of the EGR Power 50, and you can get a demo. And if you follow the link and sign up and tell them that you came via us, you can get the first month free, which is it's pretty decent. It's 11 months for the price of 12. Do you know what I'm saying?
It all helps.
Really does. So hopefully none of this banter has offended anybody. We are joined in a few moments, because we're going to have the Every Matrix interview first, but then we'll be joined by Rony Vexelman, VP of Marketing at Optimove, to talk about Optimove Engage and also a bit of Ignite Plus as well. And it's about the granularity. It's about individualization. It's about all of it, really. We'll see you next time. Between now and then, Finton and I will both no doubt be doing lots of work in our local communities. Take care. we would like to welcome this week's guest. Maybe first guest. We might actually do 2 episodes this week, Fintan. I probably didn't tell you that.
You didn't. It's not in my diary, buddy.
No, well, I've gotten wise to the ways of your diary.
You got a direct line to Holly, do you?
Wise-ish. And so I didn't put the second one in the shared diary. I just put it in. I'm just going to do it myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, you know, like, just look at NSYNC. I mean, they all did really well with their solo careers.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Timberlake did.
I was going to ask, which one are you?
And then there were the other ones, you know. That, what's his name? And that other guy.
Your man.
Yeah.
One of them is probably Jake.
And another one, probably Phil, but he probably changed his name to something like Zane. But that's enough of Fintan's favourite music. We're joined today by, and this is in no way suckling at the teat of any corporate overlords, and I'll fight any man that says otherwise. We're joined by Rony Vexelman, VP of Marketing from Optimove, our corporate overlords. Rony, welcome. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to finally make it here.
We literally had no fucking choice.
I'm just going to put it out there. The way this worked was we put out an article and you reached out to me. Hey, Ronnie, we should probably get you on the podcast to talk about this. Just saying.
That's called knowing which side your bread is buttered.
Which is unusual for John.
It really is. I'm trying to develop a commercial mindset. I mean, I'm only 50. How hard can it be?
He's usually more punk and just rebels against the system.
It's a miracle that I didn't just put on the bottom of the article, "Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me." You're not the boss of me. Eat my balls. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
which is how he signs off every email to me.
That is a corporate signature.
Yeah.
It's just one of the many reasons I'm so popular.
Little stick figure, a big arrow, the whole shebang.
Do you know, I'm still in contact with a lot of people that I've worked with over the decades, but none of them are my bosses.
I was going to say how many were bosses.
Which I think's just it's just an oversight, I think, by them and me.
Corporate overlords or not, you were able to keep us for another year, so you're getting better at it.
Yeah, it's true.
There's hope for you.
I figure you just want Fintan. That's what I usually figure.
Like, we have to deal with this guy, but we wanted Fintan.
Exactly.
Brutal.
Yeah. So
then I'll start charging my rates.
Shit. Yeah, sponsorship is at John rates, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. But there was a thing that you published, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'll ask this gentleman if he'd like to come on the podcast. Oh, I thought, what a coincidence. He works for our corporate overlords, Optimove. That's amazing. I'll send them an email and see if there's somebody available. And luckily, here we are. So that's good. That went well. But one of the things that we wanted to talk to you about today, the piece that we're talking about was it was about Engage, wasn't it? Now, it's not just a symbol on a toilet door. What is Optimove Engage?
Yeah. So, for those who missed the press release, how dare you?
I know, right?
But anyway, if it happened, if you're living under a rock, we released a new product called Optimove Engage. We believe it's a product built for the modern marketer, a marketer whose challenges have changed. If you think about it, Optimove, you guys have known us for years, and people who listen to you even further back, we've always been the go-to option for CRM marketing. And one of the things that many operators say when you talk about CRM marketing is to execute on what you're asking me to do, which is hyper personalization, which is segmentation, which is this infinite number of journeys managed by AI and all of this. I have to create a very egregious amount of content. How do I
Mm.
be, how do you expect me to do that? Right? Especially with smaller operators, right? And as you know, part of what we've been doing in the last year is really helping emerging operators, you know, succeed and get access to Optimove and get access to our professional services. And we have a whole program for that called Optimove Ignite Plus, which is a different topic we can breach and if you want to. But if you think about what happened in the last 24 months, this is no longer the problem. John, you've been creating content with AI. We all know that.
I'm sorry, what?
So,
I personally, I haven't.
oh, come on. Anyways,
I haven't. I
you
totally
you
haven't.
can deny it as much as you want, but but Finton is being called out live. No, but with Gen AI, both if it's content written, if it's visual, we're getting to a point where creating content is no longer the problem. The problem is managing it, optimizing it, and making it, you know, uh, fall under the rules of what your brand allows. Because if you think about it today, you can basically upload a picture to any LLM that works with images and say, hey, take this picture, you know, change the background, make it in Brazil, Miami, Spain, Paris, whatever, right? And you get all these different versions of it in seconds. So creating content is no longer the problem. But who said that all of those versions are on brand, that all of those
Mm.
versions, are the right versions that the person will convert? That actually the person in Brazil preferred the picture of Rio than the picture of the Eiffel Tower for a French match, French league match. I don't know, right? Like someone has to do that, and that's what Engage is. Engage is basically a marketing automation system that is built for the age where content is no longer a problem. It's built to use AI to monitor, analyze, optimize the content you're sending so that in today's world, the customer still receives the right message, the most personalized message every single time.
You're sort of making it sound like quality control.
In a way, it is on steroids because it's not just quality control. Quality control, what it does is it says, yeah, this bottle is good. But it's not just saying it's good. It's it's an old bottle. It's now no longer good. It was good when it left the factory, probably. But when it's I came with props. Um, when quality control just says this is good, but it doesn't really say, you know, this is the right combination for Finton, or this is the right combination for John or for Ronnie. Just says this is good.
Mm.
Right? And we don't want that because you don't want to say this is good for everyone because what's good for one person isn't good for the other. So you want to be able to do this at scale, optimize, and then iterate, right? Oh, this combination worked for Ronnie. Who else looks like Ronnie? Who's a lookalike of Ronnie in your database, right? Okay, let's send them those messages that look like Ronnie, right? Based on this creation that we're doing. So a lot of innovation around generative AI, controls for generative AI, and how to use that in applicable marketing use cases for the gaming industry and beyond.
I have lots of questions.
Hopefully, I have lots of answers.
We'll say no, you do. Okay, so first of all, if we go back to the original premise of, I completely agree in terms of just, particularly if you're doing, say, email marketing or social media marketing is the biggest culprit of just, banner fatigue. So the sheer volume of creative you need to produce to just keep your social media campaigns at like a decent level is phenomenal. And then what happens is your design team just end up hating you because they're just doing like 5 million variations of the same square, and it's just all the fun is taken out of their job, and it's utterly miserable. So being able to use generative AI, and I like the thing is, like, we've all seen the really bad obvious images But if you program it right and set it up right with your brand guidelines, colors, really strict, like you're kind of like creating custom GPT type thing, you can actually get it to a really good place. Where even then it's much easier than for a human just to do final touching.
Yeah.
So you're doing final touching at scale rather than, so it's definitely a workflow thing, which makes a lot of sense. So that I get. I think my questions are, okay, so if we take Engage, what is Engage? Which systems is Engage connected to? Is it just my email? Is it my entire marketing? Like, where does it sit in my stack?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we actually connected it to all of our channels. So you can use
Mm-hmm.
Engage with any of Optimove channels. So that means email, SMS, mobile. And when I say mobile, I mean like if it push, it could be in-app, it could be embedded content, web, push, embedded content, pop-ups, etc. So really, all of our native channels can work with it. And it's not only that. You mentioned the kind of changing the background. Imagine changing this the banner size, right? So you got this
Oh
campaign,
yeah, just
you got
resizing.
you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
this
yeah, for
campaign, and you need this. Hey, I want to put it on Meta, and I want to put it on my email, and I want to put it on my
sure.
push,
Oh, it's
and it's like this designer just sitting there like cropping the thing. Why?
and like I've had designers, stand and shout at me of just like no.
Yeah,
So I completely, and you're just like, well, yes, we need this. So,
and today,
so I completely get it. So, okay, so it automatically connects to all of the Optimove channels,
yes,
which makes sense. What I'm also curious about is like you've mentioned Meta and things like this. So from my CRM, I get it. From my acquisition marketing,
yeah,
is it connecting out
yeah.
to there?
So we've never pushed creative into Meta. We push audiences into Meta. Um,
Okay.
in, 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 in in the future, okay, you might be able to create the resize it or the image or whatever you're doing, right? Whatever
Mm,
workflow, as you put it. By the way, that's the way to think about it. It's workflows. This is what our
mm,
SVP of product stood on stage at Optimum Connect, our user conference in March. The video, by the way, is on YouTube. You can find it, and he talks about it, and he shows you kind of like this workflow. Um, you might be able at one point to kind of like say, okay, also create it for this dimensions in Meta and download it and upload it.
mm,
But Meta is very guarded in how you can uh, set up campaigns from outside.
yeah.
And we've always found from our conversations with operators that their number one interest is audience syncs and making sure that the journey of the player is aligned and symmetric.
Mm.
Um,
So if they've seen a banner on Meta when they hit the landing page
yeah,
and the email address,
yeah.
like the welcome email, and so the journey joins up to the acquisition
We've
messaging.
been, you know, we've been on this journey of kind of like symmetric, what we call symmetric messaging, which is exactly what you just explained. You know, give me the same recommendation, the same banner, the same content
Mm.
wherever I meet you, for the past
But
4 or 5 years.
it's such a common issue, right? So the amount of times where like having been an affiliate and stuff, you know, there's the offer. I hit the landing page. Most of the time, the offer is on the landing page, or you hope it's the same offer. Then they hit the registration form, offer disappears, and now there's this big moment of trust from the user of do I keep going, and am I going to get that special offer
Exactly.
at the end? They get to the end, they're dumped into a cashier, and it's like, am I getting the offer? Where's my free spins? I wanted a thing. So it's amazing even today how shit that journey is
Yeah. But look at
for a lot
why
of
it
companies.
happened. Think about why it happened. It happens because in that
Different teams,
exactly,
different teams not talking to each other.
exactly. The there's this concept I think your audience probably has heard it from us called the positionless marketer.
Hmm.
It's this concept where we say marketing has worked in an assembly line process for way too long, and there's no reason for it to continue to happen. What does it mean? It means that yeah, you know, there's somebody who does acquisition, right? And he says, okay, this is a campaign we're doing for acquisition. And so he talks to his affiliates or whatever, he's running it in his own, right? And then there's somebody on the product side who manages the site. You have to hand it over to them. And they have their own priorities and their own stuff. There's somebody on the CRM side, right? And then within all of those, there's even somebody who's maybe doing the audiences, and maybe someone who's doing the creative. it's bound to go wrong somewhere. Like it just, and it's bound to take an enormous amount of time. We have customers who've gone on record saying it used to take me 6 weeks. It takes me 24 hours. It used to take me 30 days. It takes me now minutes. And the reason is because you enable someone to do more of it, right? More of that workflow. Now, today, when you enable somebody to do more, going back to quality control, you have to also give them the tools to, stay on brand. Because otherwise, they're going to do it once, they're going to be yelled at, and they're never going to do it again.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to to get yelled at. By the way, this concept and Gen AI in general, you might say, you might be sitting there and be like, yeah, Ronnie, but I don't know, if it's a Champions League final, like they're not going to Gen AI this thing. Like I want to be very, or if it's a World Cup, yeah, there are certain events where you're still going to work on your waterfall and your old workflow and all your checks and boxes and everything. And that's fine. But there's 365 days a year. So.
Oh, for sure. Like I think, but, and in a way, like your designers want to work in the Champions League. They want to they want to put the extra effort into the World Cup campaign or the NFL kickoff or
they don't want to resize the freaking banner.
Yeah. But that's what you do is you free up talent to do the clever stuff rather than the grunt work. So I think, okay, so my next question then is, you've kind of talked about, like, say, different backgrounds or different elements and stuff. How in terms of what is Engage just reporting back what's working, or is Engage mixing and matching the elements to figure out what
Great
works?
question. So let's go out of visuals. Let's do content written.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say, and let's just do an example of an email. So let's say that you have an email, you write up a subject line brilliantly, you're a great creative person, and then you're like, you know what? I just want to test some subject lines, right? You can generate that with AI like this, right? Just generate variations of the subject line, make one fun, make one sad, make one serious, make one in Spanish, whatever, right? So you're generating that with Engage. By the way, it's true for visuals or whatever, but let's just use this simple example for it. Then you're saying, okay, now send it out. So Engage is now sending it out to a subset of your customers, right? Optimove has always been very data rich. So we can identify what we call the DNA, the data DNA of players, right? And then we're like, okay, these type of players react to this subject line, these type react to this subject line. And as we're sending it out, we're always refining and we're always monitoring. So you started by putting a subject line, you generated the versions, you approved them. You said, okay, these versions, I'm good with running with them, right? You can regenerate them, you can change them, whatever. But once you're done with them, you're good with them. And now you're executing them, right? That's why it's connected to our channels. So you can actually send that, in this case, email with the subject lines, test them out, see the results in real time, see the optimization happen in real time. You continue your job, go on to the next thing, right?
Yeah.
And then after the fact, we can actually report back on the email itself. So one thing is generating things like content or images, but what about analyzing things? So what about saying, okay, this email had a promotion or didn't, right? The promotion was of type X. It was a free spin. It was a matchup, whatever, right? It had these colors. It had this tone. You can analyze that today with AI. I can tell you what is the subtext or the metadata, if you will, if I'm getting technical, of any communication you're sending. And then I can use that metadata to determine what is the best message and how to configure messages in the future.
Got it.
So there's a bit of the analysis, but there's obviously the optimization and the generation of the stuff as well.
Yeah. So you've talked about using AI a lot, like, and I think most people have tried, but I've seen, like, I've tried stuff myself, and then, like, I've seen friends do stuff that's like I've done some stuff. Oh, this is a bit shit. I get it, but it feels like
You're not about to fucking diss me, are you?
Yeah, when John does it, it's way better. Right?
Well, he does it so well that we don't even know that he's using it. We've already touched upon that.
Exactly.
I know, right? It's because most of what I do that doesn't use generative AI, my original stuff, it doesn't involve any degree of I at all.
It's not mine. It's not even mine.
But like it's and things like obviously the algorithms are improving, the prompts are getting better, the ability to like program, like the big unlock for me has been like making your own GPTs.
Yeah.
So you program it with a ton of data, like I don't know, here's a style guide, here's like always reference this, always reference that. From a marketing perspective, like what are you guys seeing as best practice or recommended steps? Like some of the things I've seen it like from friends is like just spend like the level of detail they go into in a prompt is far beyond
Yeah.
what I'd have even considered.
Yeah.
And like prompting for prompts, and like it becomes this kind of thing. So from your perspective, like looking across, like what does best practice look like?
Yeah. You have to think about it as how do I make it efficient for the user? So one,
Mm,
we'll all get better at it. Okay. And the models will get better at it as well, right? So we as users will get better at, I should actually prompt it this way or I should prompt it that way. But we're building a software for the masses, right? For the
mm,
iGaming masses, for the operators. And the way we think about it is how do we package this in a way that's easy to use? So for some, okay, for some, it would be giving them access to maybe a workflow builder, right? Maybe there's some people out there who, like your friends, right,
mm.
that are more self-sufficient and they want to build a workflow themselves. So maybe we enable them to do that. But for the great majority is how do I find the use cases that are the most um, value-driven ones, both in terms of time saving and in terms of actual usage, and I productize them in a way that you don't have to prompt it to death. The prompt is behind the scenes. So let's take, for example, the background, because it's simple examples that help explain this the best. That's something that you would probably have to prompt, like, a robust prompt that says, this is the brand, this is the guidelines. Da, da, da. Well, what if I could just say, here are my guidelines, first of all, always refer to them. Like, I'm Optimove, so
Mm,
you have my guidelines. I don't have to upload it every single time. Like, here's my
mm.
guidelines. And then, okay, like, replace a background. This is what I want to do. My use case is replace a background. Here's an image, replace a background. Here's what I want. I want, again, to the example of cities, Paris, London, New York, Rio. Done. You just put Paris, London, New York, Rio, right?
Yeah. And
Because the use case is packaged. By the way, um, it might not be.
are these predefined
Yeah,
like commands in so in the back end, so that I'm typing in London, Dublin, Amsterdam, but your back end, what I don't see is a much deeper prompt.
exactly, exactly. So
Got it.
so so the beauty is in creating the use cases for that, right? So for example, on the
Mm,
subject line, okay, you might want to say like what tones you want to use, right? What type of
mm.
do you want emojis? Do you not want emojis? You want it in languages? What languages do you want? Right? So I'm allowing you to do that. But there's a think about it as a translator behind the scenes,
Yeah, yeah.
taking what you're putting in the UI into the full prompt that is then being run through the LMM.
So your back end prompt would have things like a character limit, and also generate the preview text, not just the subject line, and or whatever the
Whatever the
technical.
whatever the stuff is being asked for.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've got your established brand guidelines, which can be style of content, it can be design guidelines, all those things that you employ a fancy agency for usually. And essentially, what the person working on it is doing is they're using a massively simplified UX, which just reflects what they need right at that second. So they're not overloaded with information. They're not overloaded with choices. The brand choices and all of those things are already established, and they're just it's basically the cake is already made in the background. They're just dropping a little cherry on top.
Exactly. That's what Engage will be at the end of the day, right? Thinking we're talking about resizing for different channels, right? You don't
Mm,
have to write that. You can just say what channels, like if I would be UXing it, right? What channels do you want? It's just
Mm.
buttons. You just click email, SMS, what
and then it's
that's done,
done and
right? Like
delivered.
it's easy for you to do it. It's always about the thing of having AI agents work with you, right? In doing
Mm.
things that you want them to do. Um,
So on AI agents, and I think that's it's like I'm a huge, but I think that's going to be the killer feature for AI. Being able to just tell a bot to go do something is, I think, the big unlock for AI. Because right now it's like make me a picture or write me some words or analyze this text. Or my big one actually is Excel formulas. Amazing in Excel formulas, right? Or coding. But I think being able to like, okay, book that flight, sort out the hotel, do a follow up with blah 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 becomes this
yeah,
massive thing. I don't think it's there quite yet.
yeah,
Um, and what I'm struggling with, and I'm wondering how you guys are handling it, is like how confidently incorrect AI can be. So you've asked it to do something, it gives you an answer, and then you're like, no, that's not meeting the requirements. And it could be something really specific. Like I've done stuff with like character limits, like it cannot be more than 65 characters, right? And it's giving me something back that's like 80.
yeah. And
I'm
you
like,
tell it like, hey, this was more.
right. And it's like, oh, I'm really sorry. And then it does it again and it's still 80,
Yeah,
right? And I caught myself there one day, like literally arguing with ChatGPT of like, count the fucking
yeah.
characters. How many characters is it?
Hey,
This is wrong,
yeah,
right? And how like, and then somebody's saying to me like, oh, you get another bot to check the bot, and then you can like, how does this like,
yeah. Look,
how are you guys handling it?
I'm not gonna pretend to be here, technical guy in Optimove. I don't
Mm,
understand all the ins and outs of the technicality behind it. I can say we spend a large time in, you know, massaging, let's call it that way, the model into form. Um, it's uh, it's definitely a science, and in terms of like getting it to read the right things and answer in the right ways. Uh,
mm,
we actually started our journey with generative AI in one of the most probably complex use cases that you can think of, which is data analysis of your campaigns. Like
yeah.
you could today go to a chatbot within Optimove and ask it, hey, what are my top, um, my top three campaigns for VIPs? Now, how does he know who's a VIP, first of all, right?
Mm,
So what it does, it looks at the campaign names, right? What happens if you put non-VIP in the campaign name? You have to understand that it's a non-VIP, right? And not a VIP. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it can't just do Control F VIP and come up with it, right? So so a lot of this goes into it. It's very similar to your character. By the way, we have the same. I have the same story for my social media manager who was like, "I need this in this amount of characters. Stop!" Don't get mad at it. It's like it's doing its best. No, but I think that look, a lot of things are uh, bots are better at certain things than at other things. Um,
mm,
they're getting better by the minute. It's ridiculous. Like it's really like today I did something and I wanted to, and it made up a number. And I'm like, how do you make up this number? And it's like, oh, I took this number that you gave me and this number that you gave me, and I kind of calculated like that actually is the right calculation. So good for you. But you have now advanced research and O3 and,
mm.
and, and go to different places, go to Claude or go or each one will swear by a different LLM. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
It's like a religion. It's funny.
but but things are they're advancing, and you just have to put the guardrails in place. And you also as a user have to understand, and this is important, and we tell this to our clients, don't you know don't just say do it and be done with it. We're not there yet technologically. Right? Not we Optimove. The world isn't there yet.
Yeah,
I
for
told
sure.
my team, I told my marketing team, hey, use GPT as much as they can, and I enable them. We create GPTs and we create folders and like whatever to try and I do it
Mm,
myself, right? I ideate with it. Um, I even created like mock-ups of swag for the company and to talk over with my
nice.
designer. Um, but you have to check it, right? I have to look at it and be like, and that's why when I mentioned, for example, the subject line example, I didn't say you put in a subject line, you say generate 4 versions and execute. No, you generate 4 versions. It shows you the 4 versions. Read them, see that you're okay with them. There's the human plus machine element is super important. It's super important.
Trust but verify, as
Yeah,
Reagan said, right?
yeah.
Um,
At least for at
Did
least
you
for,
just quote Ronald Reagan?
why
I was
not?
expecting at least a Tony Stark quote.
I am Iron Man. There you go.
nailed it.
But then if you just come out with that, I'd have been like, I didn't know you were a Black Sabbath fan. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, deep layers. There's layers to this.
Old. That's the word you're looking for.
Okay, so what else can the tool do? So it can help me, segment. It can help me deal with my massive amount of
Yeah, so maybe
content.
it's a good point to think about the Optimove full product portfolio, right?
Okay.
So we have on one end the traditional, the leading CRM, right? What we call today Optimove Orchestrate. It's deep segmentation, AI decisioning, like deciding what campaign to send, what journey to create, stuff like that, incrementality measurement, and so forth. We have Optimove Personalize or OptiX, which was the acquisition from Graphite, website personalization, app personalization, right? Going back to your example of I clicked on the ad, how do I know that when I get to the website, I'm going to see the same recommendation and the same banner, et cetera, et cetera, et
Mm.
cetera, across any channel. We have our gamification solution, which we acquired earlier this year, a company called the DACT out of Estonia, which is gamification, gamified marketing, as we know it in the industry. And we have Engage, which is kind of like the content optimization product, if you will. So we're trying not to duplicate capabilities. We don't want to come to a point where you can do what you can do with Engage. You can also do it in Personalize or in Orchestrate or in places like this. So we want to make sure that Engage is its own self-contained platform for what it's designed to do, right? That way, we generate more value for our customers as well, right? They didn't come to buy. If you try to do everything in everywhere, it works. If you're coming and saying this platform is good for this platform is good for this, then as a buyer, you're also like, oh, this is what I need, right? I need this platform. I'm going to buy this platform, and I'm going to get what I need. Engage can do, of course, things like measurement, right? We still provide our measurement of incrementality and solutions for you to be able to monitor and optimize what's working. Testing obviously is built into this because that's part of the optimization flow. And the execution of messages. By the way, you want to, we've talked here about very advanced use cases and kind of like creating campaigns and using AI to create content within brand guidelines. If you want to just upload an email and send it, right, or write an SMS and send it, we can do that, right? It's not like you've got your bases covered. We're like all talking about this like futuristic thing, and like let's just say that
it's a classic marketer mistake, right? Just getting really excited about the cutting edge stuff and forgetting the basics.
You can do the simple stuff, guys. Come on, you can segment, you can send your emails, right? Like let's make sure that we got that covered as well. But yeah, it's your traditional customer engagement platform in that sense.
Got it. Okay. I'm also super interested in hearing more about Ignite Plus.
Yeah.
So what is that?
So Optimove Ignite Plus is a program we launched, I want to say around ICE this year. We came to a realization that we've built Optimove in many ways thanks to the industry of iGaming. A lot of our clients come from this industry. We have clients that have been with us for over 10 years within the industry. We have clients who come and go and come back afterwards. We see people move from operators to new ones and bring us on board to help them grow their business. And we've amassed this giant amount of know-how not only in terms of like product and functionality, but also in terms
Mm.
of like this is how you build a strategy, right? You've had on your podcast people from our professional services team come and talk about it. This is how you talk about a World Cup. This is how you think about the World Cup. This is how you think about an onboarding. This is how you think about a win back, right? We have all of this know-how, and truth be told, there's a lot of operators who are starting on their journey or are maybe a few years into their journey. We call them
Mm.
emerging operators who just need the right guidance. They need the benchmarks, they need some strategic help, they need the right tools, right? And we said, it's time that we also give back to the industry and we help those operators be the next big thing. Right? Stake is a client of ours. They grew with us, right, from the get-go.
Mm.
And we believe, and like them, there's a lot of them, but we believe we can, we can help them come in and grow. And Ignite Plus is exactly that. It's a program to help emerging operators get access to Optimove, right? It includes different commercials that are more aligned with what an emerging operator could provide. It includes professional services baked in, right, within what it's doing. For certain use cases, right? It's like these are the use cases that can help you get off the ground. These are the use cases that would make you efficient. It's not just like here's a bag of 200 hours and I don't know,
Yeah.
figure
Ask
out
questions.
figure out
Yeah,
what to
yeah.
do. This is like actionable use cases that choose from this menu. What do you want? What do you want to buy?
Yeah.
What do you want to use? It includes access to things like a course on CRM marketing that we've partnered with Gaming Operations Academy, which I imagine you guys are familiar with. So you get a ticket for your team to go to the course on CRM marketing, which is a third-party course, by the way. We just think that we should enable your team to be better at CRM marketing. It includes tickets to some of our events so that you can come and you can learn, right? We've also done some changes within Optimove in terms of like ensuring that there's customer success that understands your needs, right? Your need is different than a need of,
Yeah.
I don't know, an Intane, for example, right? Or a Bet365
Yeah,
or somebody in Flutter. It's different needs. So it's a really well thought program. I'm very proud of how we thought about like product, commercials, services, support, and enrich and like knowledge know-how to help emerging operators really come out on top and be competitive. And we've seen great response from the market, by the way. We have a ton of deals already signed within them. We have some testimonials coming out soon about it.
nice.
So, yeah.
Because I think it's one of those ones where, like, if you are a smaller operator, you think Optimove is only for the big guys. Oh, I don't have a lot of customers. I don't have a lot of data. That's only for the big guys. It doesn't apply to me. I'll just sit here and do it manually.
The
It's
amount,
probably like I could imagine thinking that quite easily.
look, first of all, that's what our competitors want you to think. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. They're going out and they're saying, hey, look at their logos. They just work with the big guys. Like they won't give you the time of day, right?
Got it.
And truth is, it couldn't be like less true. Like we've signed people, and we continuously sign operators, or operators sign with us. We don't sign them. They decide to sign with whoever they want to sign. But operators have come to us pre-launch, time and again, and we see it happen. We see it happen even today in sweeps. We see it happen in LATAM. We see it happen in Europe. We see it happen in APAC. It's a known thing. But it's easy to say what you just thought. Why? Because we work with the leaders of the industry and we like, and that's part of our messaging, right? But we're coming and we're saying, no. By the way, I remember being at ICE, day 3. I think it closes like at 3 p.m. At 3 p.m., someone sitting and having a demo, and it was this guy that was going to launch this operation in South America, and it was and he signed with us, right? He decided to go with Optimove because of what I just said, and this was pre-Ignite Plus. Now we're actually coming and saying, we have this package for you. Like, all you have to do is walk in the door and say, hey, I'm an emerging operator. I want to buy into the best that I can, and we're making it easy for you to do that.
Got it. And is it only a gambling industry thing, or
Yeah.
does it? Because obviously you guys work across multiple
So
industries and sectors and stuff. Is it just for gambling, or is it across the
this program is just for gambling, sports betting, the broader iGaming industry.
Okay.
Yeah. We you can build this. You could kind of like go like Google for startups, right? And kind of like say,
Yeah.
I'm going to do it for any startup. First of all, we decided not to call it for startups because why should it be
Competitive.
penalized? No, yeah, why should it be penalized if you're, I don't know, 5 years in and you're still a small operator trying to make it and
Well, you could be a land-based guy for 50 years and you're launching it
and
on
launching
iGaming tomorrow.
tomorrow as well, right?
Yeah.
So we decided to call it emerging operators for a reason. Um, and you're completely right. It's just we came in, we said, look, this is an industry where we have the know-how. This is an industry that's given us a lot. This is an industry where we want to give back. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to do it.
Understand. Nice.
Yeah, crikey. Satisfied your inner nerd, Finton?
It has. Scratched
And
the
your
itch.
outer nerd?
Oh, very satisfied.
Thought you were looking sated.
Now the
That's what
question,
we say
the
about
question is, the next guest has to satisfy John. Finton is just going like this.
it.
There is no satisfying me. But that's what happens when you're dead inside, when there's nothing but a vacuum in here. You can't ever achieve satisfaction. Certainly not with these earthly delights. I've got a question, right? And this is a weird question, but I'm going to ask you it anyway. All right? Because I asked a writer this question recently. And I asked a writer to answer this question recently.
Did that writer's name start with C and end with PT?
No.
Okay.
No. Because I don't use that for writing at all. I don't use it for research or anything. And it's not that I'm against it. It's just that I don't want to use it for the thing. I'm not handy enough with using it yet that I would trust it to do research for me. And I need to learn to use it better as a tool before I trust it to come up with facts and figures. When I know that there's such a risk of it coming up with absolute bollocks.
Yeah. By the way, you can nowadays ask it for the citations, and it will give you exactly the citations.
Yeah, but then I've got to go and check those sources, haven't I?
You're basically doing the same research again.
Yeah. And I think with some of the stuff that I write about, I do need to be really, really careful. It's not like back in the day when I just wrote about porn and jewelry. Life was considerably simpler then.
John took it hard that I insinuated that he uses ChatGPT. I didn't mean it to be that.
But I like what you did there. I mentioned writing about porn, and you say that I took it hard. It's like that's a nod to my previous employment, isn't it? Well, no, it's one of those things. When you're as good as I am, you get accused sometimes of using these tools. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's like everybody is looking for whether other people are using this. And I keep seeing these things about punctuation. Oh, if it's got an M dash in it. And that's kind of fair, I guess. But
it was you who introduced me to the M dash, John. I didn't know what an M dash was until I met you.
Well, it's a great bit of punctuation. It exists for a fucking reason. M dash, N dash, dash. They're all different, and they all have different purposes. And they're all spaced differently, etc., etc. It's one of those things. Like I remember years ago, like I was talking to Lorna and her best mate Katie, right? And I said something like, "Fuck, Joe, I can't remember what the word I used was, but I used the perfect word for the context." And they're like, "What does that mean?" And I said, "Oh, it means blah blah blah." They go, "Why didn't you just say that?" I said, "What I did. That's exactly what I did do." It's like language and punctuation are precise things for when precision is required.
Yeah. By the way, I'd be interested. I'm not a savvy punctuation guy, but I imagine that there's like schools of punctuation, like there's like the Chicago whatever, like for citations,
like
right?
pizzas.
No, like for citations, like pizzas, yeah. But for citation, that in citations, when you're doing bibliography, there are different.
There's like the Harvard methodology.
And this was so I imagine that punctuation probably has something similar, right? It'd be interesting to do somebody as knowledgeable as you, John, obviously, to do like a test of.
The thing is, right?
A test of like, hey, if you do it write it in this punctuation, like blah blah blah, and scholarship and so.
But I thought this was really simple. I thought the way it was approached is, or the way it was explained to me is, there's the King's English, and then there's wrong. And I thought it was just a really simple.
No, not at all. Not at all. And that's an incredibly snobby approach to language. Because the thing about language is constantly changing. It is always fluid. Compare like common usage now to 10 years ago. The language is completely different. Like go back 40 years, the word internet didn't fucking exist outside of laboratories. You know, it's like sometimes words have to be invented because there isn't one. And I'm not just talking about the way the Germans do it. Thank you for Kummerspeck, by the way, Germany. Appreciate you. But you know, language is constantly evolving and shifting. And the King's English is way behind it. Way behind. Like, just look at... All right, maybe it's a controversial choice, but look at words that are used negatively and how their use is reframed in day-to-day life. So look at, for example, gay. The use of gay has changed probably 3 times in my lifetime. Look at, you know, I'm not going to use the word, but let's call it the N-word. The N-word used in a derogatory way and the N-word reclaimed. And that's actually, that reclamation happened in what, a 15-year period, something like that? And it's resulted in a different spelling and a different pronunciation. I mean, talk about the fluidity of language, because language belongs to the people that use it. It's not held in a fucking book, and that there are not hard and fast rules to it. I mean, there are to certain things, like, you know, Jesus Christ, use a paragraph or something like that. But language is constantly evolving and changing, and it should be, because language belongs to people like you and me.
So when do I use an M dash correctly?
Oh, fuck off.
What is the correct uses of the M dash?
He just went on this beautiful soliloquy on language and this poem and love letter to language, and you go back with the M dash.
I just want to learn.
I'm just getting Google's AI overview of this. So,
are you sure it's correct?
I've asked for this.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, no, this is the thing. So when I started out in publishing, I was a sub-editor. And so I did actually know all of this shit. And I don't know anymore because I don't need to. And I know that I do this. I use an N dash where I should use an M dash.
What are you thinking about yourself? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
I just think I'm
such an egregious thing.
I just like fucking with people.
No, it's annoying.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Or is it me being fluid?
No. I imagine people reading your stuff and being like, this guy is annoying. He's a prick.
Yeah, they do that anyway.
Yeah, they're thinking that because of the words, not the punctuation.
Not the dashes, mate.
Or because they've met me.
It's like more than a dash to fix that.
So that you use the N dash. So on I don't know what it is on a PC keyboard, but on a Mac keyboard, it's Option dash is an N dash, right? Okay. And you use an N dash to separate something in a range. But I do use the N dash where most people would use the M dash. First magazine I ever worked on, the house style was use an N dash, not an M dash.
And that's just stuck.
Yeah.
Because dashes are fluid as well. Okay, got it.
Well, if they weren't before, what year was that? 92, 93? If they weren't before then, they are now. And I will stab any man that says otherwise. But how do we get onto this even?
I have no idea.
It doesn't matter.
You fucking started it, Ronnie.
I have no idea. I just
no.
Oh, you said you had a question about you asked the writer, and we went down this rabbit hole of M dashes and N dashes and other dashes.
It's Fenton's fault because this doesn't happen when I'm here on my own. No, so the question I asked the writer, lovely fella, and he's written a really nice article about it, was this, right? is the granulization, for want of a better invented word, is the granularity that is made possible by CRM software, is that level of personalization in fact anti-personalization? Because what we're doing is we're taking individuals and we're making them numbers again. We're reducing them to processes and responses according to, if you like this. Are we taking the personalization out of personalization? Because I'm not saying that there is an answer to this. I'm wondering what your take on this is. Do you get where I'm coming from with the question?
You're asking a philosophical question on
Yeah.
whether the fact that we are using systems to analyze data and behaviors takes away the personality of the person and then makes him just another alphanumeric value in a data set.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on. I'm getting kicked out of the room. 1 second. I think it really depends. It really depends on how you look at it. Look on a as a what's it called, as a cynical person, right? I could come and I could say, you're onto something. This is not personalization. By the way, there's people who will say it's individualization, right? Treat every player as an individual, right? I think it really depends on how you approach it. If you're approaching this at the end of the day to just move more product, have them play more games, like in a very transactional manner, I think you're right. I think you're right. Right. I've written about this years ago. There's personalization to help. If my objective is to help you, not just to get you to transact with me, then I think you're wrong. If my objective is to help you, at some point, my personalization to you would be to move you out of my journeys for transactions and bonuses and whatnot, and into maybe a responsible gaming journey. My objective would be to ask you and to prompt you and to force you to put limits, to play responsibly. That might harm. It's not harm, but might not be the most effective way of inflating your top line. But it's about recognizing that there's a person on the other side, and that you want the best for that person. You want to help them to be entertained. You want to help them play safely. You want to help entertain them, right? And then I think that it becomes more than just an alphanumeric value, because you care about the person who's aligned with that alphanumeric value.
Well, that's the thing, and it is a worry just generally in life. Like you see, I made the mistake of signing back up to Facebook recently. What the fuck was I thinking? Right? And I saw this post, and it was very, very obviously AI generated. It was about the movie Reservoir Dogs. Are you both familiar with that movie?
Yep.
It was talking about how Reservoir Dogs had changed independent cinema. Well, no, it didn't. And it was talking about how it changed crime films because it had a non-linear format. Well, actually, you'll find that it borrowed its structure from two places, which is The Killing, which Kubrick made in 1960, and City on Fire, which is a Hong Kong film, which was made about 4 or 5 years before it. Right? So I'm thinking this is just fucking bullshit. So I wrote, it was the first comment on it. It's great to see more AI generated content on here. You haven't even credited City on Fire.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna.
This guy comes on.
Move and free up this room because there's no other rooms free in this place, and I don't know what's gonna happen
to
the audio. So
go to the canteen. Tell us what they got for lunch. So this guy comes on, right, and he's like, AI content. Did you see what year this film was made? There wasn't generative AI then. Check a calendar. And I'm thinking, wow, you didn't understand what I was saying there at all. And he's just jumped straight down my throat.
But you fell for the trap.
Oh, commenting on it. Yeah, totally.
But the trap was deliberately inflaming for movie nerds. So basically what they've done with that piece of content is actually really clever.
Mine's the only negative comment on it.
No, but that's
everybody else is like, yeah, great film.
No, but that's the thing. So it'll either appeal. So what it does is it polarizes. All right, so you're going to get a bunch of people going, "Oh yeah, Reservoir Dogs, brilliant movie, loved it." great soundtrack, or you'll get the film buffs critiquing it. But either way, if you've got a positive or negative opinion on the post,
Satan wins.
It's so polarizing. You feel compelled to respond. All right, so you fell into the honey trap.
I'm going to go and re-eject myself from Facebook.
You got honey trap, mate.
Fuck's sake. But my point is that the way that we respond to each other online is because we've forgotten that there is a person on the other end of that. And there's an awful lot of sort of transactions, for want of a better way to put it, where we've forgotten that it's a person on the other end. You know what I mean?
Oh, look, it's
everything is funneling you to go on a website, do this, do that. It's like seriously, if I win that friggin' Euro Millions tonight, I'm opening a bank where like the key selling point is to come in and have a fucking cup of tea and a biscuit. We're people.
A cafe and save loads of money, man. You don't have to be a bank.
Fuck off. Well, no, but you look around my area and the banks have closed all their branches. Like if I want to go to my bank, I've got to travel for an hour to go to a branch. That's fucking ridiculous. A fucking hour?
I know.
It's insane. Banks used to be a part of the community, and the bank manager used to be a part of the community. And it's not that way anymore. And the communities are suffering and people are suffering and life is a bit shitter because everything is about keeping people at arm's length. Anyway, sorry. It's a bit of a thing. I'll shut up now.
Yeah. So, okay. Thanks, John. Let's
I think that
for anybody
that summarizes this episode beautifully.
Let's land the plane here.
For anybody who's watching in black and white, I'm flicking the V's at Finton.
Which has also changed meaning over time. It used to be archers, right?
I read somewhere that that's a bit of an urban myth, but I still like it better than any other explanation.
If people wanted to get a demo of Engage, where should they go?
Optimove.com. They can find the Engage here under the product pages.
Although it would be better for us if you followed the link
/
from us.
Gambling files, yes, sir. And the link is probably on the episode's description, I imagine, as I know you guys. And by the way, if you do that, you also get your first month free. So
that is true.
Ooh.
There's added benefit in doing it that way.
I didn't know that.
That is true.
You just forgot, John.
You just forgot. You knew it at the beginning of our relationship. That's how you are. Relationships pass, and the honeymoon phases go by, and et cetera, et cetera.
We all take each other for granted. It's just I'm not wearing the sexy underwear anymore.
Just the way it is.
No, I still am.
Right.
Too much information.
But you got fat, John. You got fat.
I did, yeah. And for regular listeners, I'd like it to be noted that that's the second episode where Finton's called me fat recently.
Okay, guys.
Yeah. It's great.
Anyway, so me and John are going to have our domestic argument after this once you hang up.
Thank you for having me, guys.
I've told you not to fight in front of the neighbours, John. Jesus.
It told us not to fight in front of the corporate overlords. It's just so embarrassing. Finton, I think they've heard the podcast. Ronnie, thank you for joining us. Much appreciated, and the best of luck with the sexy new tools. Hang on. Hang on. I can do this.
Appreciate that. That might be the soundtrack of the new product.
My new ringtone.
Text message alert. That's what you need. As soon as you sign up to a new betting service, land in Las Vegas. My God, it's like the DVD for Austin Powers got stuck.
We need to take the cat to the vet.
I will end this on an Austin Powers quote, though, from Michael Caine in Austin Powers in Goldmember, where he says the wonderful line, and this is appropriate because Finton is in the Netherlands. He says, I'm not going to do the impression because I can't do Michael Caine's voice. There's only two kinds of people I hate. The intolerant and the Dutch. So, Ronnie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
If you've enjoyed this episode of the Gambling Files podcast, please find us on LinkedIn. Give us a big, juicy, succulent like. That nearly went wrong. You can find us under the name The Gambling Files Podcast. You can find us on Twitter under The Gambling Files. I think the handle is just @GamblingFiles. You can connect to myself, John Bruford, or Finton Costello, also on LinkedIn. We're also both on Twitter. And you can find all of our previous episodes at www.thegamblingfiles.com. If you enjoyed it, please share, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your colleagues, and we'll see you next time.